Are you looking to stream or record your favorite TCG game but not sure where to start when it comes to cameras? Well, I got you covered in this video as we talk about cell phones, webcams, and digital cameras. So let's get into it. There are basically three choices you're going to pick from. The first is using your cell phone camera, because I'm pretty sure everybody has a cell phone nowadays. Your next bet, and probably the one that most folks are probably going to gravitate towards, is using a webcam. I've got my Elgato face cam here that sometimes I've used. Or if you're going to go, let's say, a little bit above and beyond, or you want some additional flexibility, you're going to use a digital camera. I've got a digital camera. I'll pull it down here. You can kind of see it up here in the frame, but that's what I use for my top-down gameplay. But why would you pick one of these three over one of the others? I guess the first thing to think about is always cost. Again, you probably already have or own your cell phone, so the camera in there is probably going to work just fine. But beyond that, going through each of these, whether it's your cell phone, the webcam, or using a digital camera, the trade-offs is going to be cost to looks and video quality. Each one of these is going to do a decent job. With the cell phone, probably the most or the least quality, then with the digital camera giving you up to the highest quality, again, of course, with trade-offs. Now, let's start with your cell phone. Like I said, this is going to be your best option, more than likely, because you probably already have one. It's pretty straightforward to use. But like I said, it will come in third place when it comes to the overall energy quality. The other thing to think about is battery drain or runtime. If you're just, recording a Zoom call, or you're, doing some games that way, it might not be, too much of a problem. But if you're doing like Store Showdown or Planetary Qualifiers, if you're playing Star Wars Unlimited or something where you're going to be either recording or streaming for a long period of time, obviously the battery drain on that might be significant, because you're not going to be able to hook up a continuous power supply unless you're going to run some sort of long USB cable for it. Next thing is the applications. Now, I use an Android phone, so I use an app called DroidCam, which I can show here, that basically will let me turn this into a camera that I can pump into OBS or run through Zoom and broadcast, record, stream it that way. I know a lot of folks use Epoch Cam from Elgato. If you're an iPhone user, I'll put a link for that down below. But I'm sure there's many other ones as well. But just to give you a sense of what you're going to get when you use your cell phone, let me dive in real quick and show you what DroidCam looks like with the top-down view. All right, now here we are with my cell phone camera set up using the free software of DroidCam to kind of basically pipe it into OBS as a virtual camera, as a web camera. You can see the camera up here in the upper right. As you can see, the image quality is pretty good. I mean, everything is clear, nothing's too blurry. It's a little saturated, or it's a little bright. I'm sure I could probably dial that in a little more with the controls. But I think this is passable, again, for something that you probably already own and have in your, let's call it your toolbox for recording or streaming games. So let me just go ahead and flip up a couple of cards here just so you can kind of see. I think you can kind of see good image quality, a little washed out, not too super crisp, but I think good enough. Out of the three, it's probably going to be the worst quality, but enough that you can still make out what the cards are, especially if you play. In this instance, let's say you play Star Wars Unlimited. If I bring the cards up from a zoom, I mean, again, you can see very clear, very crisp, but just a little muted, not, very, let's say the color's a little washed out. But again, very passable, easy to do. And again, with something that you probably already own. But let's talk about the next best option, which would be a webcam. Next up, let's talk about using a webcam. A webcam is going to be the easiest option of the three to implement, because they're basically plug and play, minus depending on the manufacturer you pick, that might come with some additional software. Additionally, there's lots of options to choose from, but I want to say don't go too cheap, as you won't be happy with the image quality. And what I mean by too cheap is, like, I would stay away from like some of those $20 webcams that you might see on Amazon. I would probably stick in the range of like a $60 camera for like one of the low end, let's say Logitech line. I use an Elgato face cam, or I've used an Elgato face cam, which I think I paid $125 for. So somewhere probably in that, let's just say $60 to $120 range is going to give you exactly what you probably want, both from a cost perspective as well as from an image quality perspective, because they're going to be, I don't want to say good enough, but they're going to be better than your cell phone. And they're going to be a little bit shy potentially of using something like a digital camera. So they're kind of in that sweet spot for all those reasons. Now, just to give you an idea of what you're going to be looking at, let me set up my face cam really quick and just do a demo. All right, and this is what the webcam looks like aiming down. As you can see, I've got it up in the right-hand corner of the little overlay window. I didn't change any of the lighting for the recording, so I still have kind of my main light as well as my, my ceiling lights and lights that's coming from outside. So there's nothing like retouched or, changed based off the recording. This is just what it looks like. As you can see, we've got some good clarity. If I shuffle out or deal out a couple of cards, think you can see the color quality is there. The images look good. If not, they're just a little muted, but nothing, drastic. If I bring the cards up, you get a quick zoom. I mean, nothing, too out of whack there. So all in all, I think the webcam, or at least specifically the Elgato face cam, does a really good job for kind of this top-down view for if you want to record and stream games. All right, and lastly, probably the most expensive option, and truly going to be the most complex, would be using, a digital camera as your top down or your hand cam view. Now, this one gives you a lot of options for flexibility, because now you're entering the world of working with, potential camera lenses for zoom in, zoom out, better optical zoom as opposed to digital zoom of like what your cell phone or your webcam is going to do. The price and complexity you're going to pay with using a digital camera is going to possibly pay off with that control and flexibility. Now, you might have a bit of a learning curve using a digital camera. If you don't come from the camera world, you're going to learn about things like focal length and ISO and aperture settings and all these things to kind of make the image look the way you want it. But more than likely, you're going to get the best image or the most crisp image out of using something like this. But just to kind of show you what I'm talking about, let's dive into a demo of me using my Sony ZV-1F and kind of deal out some cards. All right, as you see here, we've got the digital camera setup going. You can see it in the upper right-hand corner. This is my Sony ZV-1F. I think the color is very accurate. The image is very crisp. Again, I didn't change any of the lighting. It might be a little darker just because the sun is starting to settle a little bit here in Seattle. But I just think the image quality is visibly better, definitely than the cell phone camera, and a little bit better than the webcam. Let's go ahead and shuffle up some cards or deal up some cards. You can kind of see how crisp those look. You can easily make those out on the mat. If I bring them up from a zoom, I mean, just look how kind of crisp and the color is on this Battlefield Marine. So definitely a step above the webcam. Is it worth the price of admission? Again, this is a lower end digital camera. This was only, I shouldn't say only, but $400 compared to $120 for the webcam. So depending on the look you're going for and what your pocketbook looks like, the webcam is going to be more than adequate. I will say the difference for me is the digital camera does look a little bit more, I don't know, cinematic, I guess. I'm not sure what how you want to call this look, compared to where the webcam looked more digital and more artificial. Again, that's just my idea. But I think that the webcam, probably the right option for most folks, unless you really want to get in kind of to the camera stuff and dealing with ISO and all those things, which I kind of like to nerd out on. But I digress. Let me go ahead and back out of this and let's wrap up this video with some options or other things you may need to consider. So what did you think? Did you like the look of the digital camera? Did you prefer the simplicity of the webcam? Or do you like the fact that if you have a cell phone, there's no extra cost added? You just get some free software and you're ready to go. Leave your thoughts and comments below. As always, I appreciate you watching. And until the next time, I hope you have a great day.